what is sustainable aviation for you? Is it a good
Well,
thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it a dream? What it is?
well, in general, I think sustainability is a good thing. Sustainable means it's still there in the future. huh? And if we find a way not consuming more from the planet than it can give, it's a good thing. So that's basically I'm open for sustainability. Welcome it. So or the discussion about it.
In real life, in today operations for you, is it easy to be sustainable, and is it easy to start the road for this sustainable aviation?
No, it's impossible. With what we have now, it's just impossible. You cannot get the one way to get sustainable would be sustainable aviation fuel, but the planes are not certified yet. Or to compensate the CO2 with trees, for example, but you cannot grow as much trees as you burn jet fuel. It's just, I think the whole discussion around it is for at the moment, it's just false. It's just
So
not
it's
true. We
more,
cannot be sustainable right
we
now.
are declaring that we are going there without ready solutions and ready infrastructure and even aircraft certification.
To go there is let's say the vision. What still lacks a bit is a roadmap. And on business aviation, we also depend on commercial aviation, because we could not be the only ones flying with sustainable aviation fuel, but the airliners still use the ordinary Jet A1. We would need to have them, and also our market is too small to push such a development. There are still airliners still use at least 20 times more fuel than we do, or more. So it's that we need the leverage from the big guys.
What is the very realistic thing you would need? Do you need decisions, or, as you told, the roadmap from regulators, from the authorities? What you would need from manufacturers? Because again, a lot of manufacturers are working on sustainable solutions, but as you told, they are not certified yet. So what exactly you would need now?
Well, I think it certainly needs the political will. If the political will is not there to make a roadmap and say, okay, guys, until 2030, you need to accomplish this. Until 2035, you need to accomplish this. 2040, and so on. It will not happen, because just to feel better is usually not a good driver for companies. They all companies are there in the first instance to make profit. So if it's not good for the profit, or not necessary, let's say so, it most likely won't happen. Think about back in the 80s when the catalytic converter was or became mandatory on cars. It just went into cars when it got mandatory, not before. And or the emissions regulations for cars, and anyhow the engine developments are always just where the regulations need them to be. They're usually not much better, only probably for marketing issues, but we need to have the regulations in place. And then and if the political will is there to say, okay, this is your deadline, then we'll find a way to do it, because then everyone also needs to do it, and not just one manufacturer. Because if one manufacturer is pushing all the development, then yeah, there's no profit in this one anymore.
Easy question again. You told about sustainable aviation fuel. How easy you can get if you want? Is it available?
At the moment, no, not really, because again, there's no plane certified. We just started with the trials and with the test, but there's no plane certified yet. And so when it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation. Is you need to have the plane certified first, or you need to have the infrastructure first. It's like, yeah, we have in what we do in the company, for example, we try to have our CO2 footprint as small as possible. We have all of our company cars are electric. We try to be to we move now to a green office where there's no heating required anymore, just very little, and things like that. That's how did I end up here? Um, we try to do everything around, but yeah, Tatiana, please help me out. I think I
The
lost the red.
sustainable aviation fuel, what you need first,
Oh
infrastructure,
yeah, exactly.
education, or
And with the electrical cars, you have also the problem. You need to have chargers everywhere around. Like I'm now on a charger, because when there are no chargers, you cannot get an electric car because you cannot charge it. And it's the same with aviation fuel. If the infrastructure is not there, who would buy it? Who would buy a plane that flies on SAF? Mm.
would it be interesting to offset in another way, investing in sustainable aviation fuel infrastructure? In a way, you keep money in the industry, solving a real question. Let's say spending this money investing in SAF production or SAF infrastructure. What do you think?
Yes, I think that's actually a brilliant idea. You can only plant so much trees, you still would pump out oil from the ground. This is the circle we have to break. Yeah, if we find a way to break the circle where we need some crude oil and oil platforms, because when you think about the infrastructure that's needed to bring that stuff out of the ground and into your tank, um, it's just crazy when you see how the production works and how dirty it actually is. It's crazy. So if we find a way to break that circuit with taking the CO2 from the air, or from corn or whatever. I'm not an expert on this. Then it would be certainly better than just continuously planting here and there some trees. Let's say a stopgap solution, but not a permanent one.
It would also help the industry because actually we would invest in the future and in the development.
Yeah, I
Uh,
totally agree.
I will see who we need to tell that that would be a good solution for the offsetting. What do you think about hydrogen aircraft for business aviation? Do you think customers are ready?
The problem with hydrogen is the energy density. The energy density of hydrogen is much lower than on Jet A1 or any fuel. So the tanks you need are much bigger. I don't see that happening on planes. I remember a sketch from Airbus, I think back in the 90s, where they basically made the whole fuselage as a hydrogen tank. Which besides is highly explosive. Remember the Hindenburg. I'm
Yes.
not sure if I want to be on a hydrogen powered plane. So I don't even think that hydrogen is a good idea for cars, because to get hydrogen, you first have to do a lot of electricity, then convert the electricity into hydrogen, or use the electricity to produce hydrogen. So you have losses already here. And the production of hydrogen is highly inefficient. And at the moment, all the hydrogen we have on those hydrogen stations are made out of petrol, which is ridiculous. So at the moment, the hydrogen car is the dirtiest one around, and it's just, yeah, it out of the exhaust you get water and CO2. Nice, huh? Good, but until then, it's just the whole process is inefficient. The internal combustion engine is inefficient. The production is inefficient. You need a multiple step process to do it. Uh, Hydrogen in no mode of transportation makes sense. It's
Electrical, let's say all the electrical aircraft, a
the
small airport, small airfields, electrical takeoff and
EV
landing.
charts.
Yes. What do you think?
In general, I think the idea behind that is good, but it's also just for city hopping, let's say so. Because again, energy density is the problem. A battery has the weight to energy density ratio of a battery is, I think, 2% or 3% of the same in of petrol or fuel. So it's just and you won't get that. So for small hops, it's certainly a good idea. It's quiet. It doesn't pollute anything. But in general, the whole idea behind the eVTOLs that fly within the cities, I'm not so sure about that.
So it's not so easy to get sustainable like that, in a second and change everything in a moment, in 1 year, and not even 10 years. Uh,
No, no, not at all.
Another aspect, which is, I think, as important and maybe sometimes not really discussed, do you think that sustainable aviation is financially sustainable at this point?
At this point, no. It's at the moment it's still sponsored by people who want it. I remember, I think I bought the ticket last week, and with some airlines you could already, however this works, but you could actually say, well, I want to have my fuel with 100% sustainable aviation fuel. The ticket price, I think, goes up by 30% or something like that. So you have to be willing to pay that. It makes the ticket much more expensive, and especially when you fuel the whole plane or something like that. It's and I don't see people paying 30% more for their tickets to fly sustainable. Otherwise, they would not fly on low cost airlines either. The most important thing, I mean, not in business aviation, but still, you either either all or none. There's probably one or two unicorns that could do that or that would use it, but in a broader scale.
My last question. Do you think that we need to do something to explain, really explain, that aviation in general and business aviation especially is already doing a lot of efforts to make the whole operations sustainable? Or we're already, let's say, we started the road and we're improving each and every day?
Um, I think one issue that comes into play here is demographics. Most people drive a car, so if they would if they would point the fingers at the car industry, they would point at themselves. But you see planes flying all day. You see you see the stripes. You have everything there, where people still think they're what are they called? Chemtrails or what kind of BS? But they aviation in general has a bad reputation because it's noisy. It's there. It's still luxurious to most people on Earth, to be honest. Um, and even now in aviation, we have the business aviation. We have those guys that have all the money and blah. But they are also the drivers of the development. Um,
But
sorry,
there are
Paul.
also business
Um,
aviation is medical evacuation as well, and this is a part which is not really highlighted, and people
no,
are
not at all. Not
forgetting about that.
there's there's plenty of other side stuff that business aviation does, as you said, EMS, or sometimes keep production lines live, just because you could ship goods quickly. Plenty of other stuff, of good things, but in general, yeah, it's the let's say, what's the meaning, old white man that flies in the business jets, who doesn't care about anything, which is bullshit, but it's the perception people have. And so it's difficult to argue about that. But and I think that's a very important role we play in business aviation, is we need to be on the forefront of that development. It's all the developments start from top to bottom. Think about let's take Tesla, for example. First, it was the Roadster, the very exclusive thing. Then it came the limousine, then the SUV, which were both way north of 100,000 euros. Now it's coming down to normal cars, and it's when you look about what ABS or safety systems in cars, they all start in the highest class, and then they come down. And it's also in aviation, when you look at the cockpits of planes, the cockpits of business jet, like the new Gulfstreams or things like that, then with touch screens and everything, that's way that's at least 10 years ahead of airliners. So we have to start the development, but at some point we have to get the big boys.
Uh, would you be ready to discuss with your colleagues if they will not agree with everything that you say?
Of course.
Perfect, because that's the point. I hope to do something very useful, but because sometimes people are not talking or not saying the real life stuff, and we are keep moving with a lot of statements which are, as you told, more political than a real life of the industry. So I'm very much looking forward to find some realistic solution to go further with the sustainable aviation and make it more realistic for everyday life of operations, let's say like that.
Yeah, let's start
Okay.
with the discussion. That's a very good idea.
I hope so. So I will definitely let you know and get ready for a lot of questions from the industry brothers.
Perfect.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Keep in touch. It was a
Thank
pleasure.
you, Tatana, for the opportunity. Bye.